Welcome to another episode of, we call it Elliot and I in the Box. My partner and I are going to be talking to two excellent officers. Just came on our department not long ago. And partner, welcome back.
Thank you, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm really excited for the show.
Oh, awesome.
This is one of our Colonel's SMART goals for the department. One of his top 7 initiatives is recruiting and retention of officers. And how about tell the audience what this podcast is about today?
Well, what we're doing now is we're reaching out of the box pretty much with two officers that are, again, been with us for a couple of years. They're not from this country. They're from different countries, and we're going to let them introduce themselves. And again, part of that initiative of getting our community or our police department to look like our community is what we're doing now. So I think this is an excellent way of partnershiping with our community as we have been doing for a while. And I'll start with my man D. You want to introduce yourself to us?
All right. My name is Ndiaye. I'm from Senegal, West Africa. I've been here for about going to my 11 years now. At first, I lived in New York City and studied up there. I went to high school. Then from New York City, I went down to Buffalo where I met Elliot to recruit me for this awesome department.
Awesome. So we'll get into your experience, what brought you to Chesterfield, not only the recruiting part of Elliot, what he does well in talking to people, but we'll get into what you want to become as an officer with Chesterfield County Police Department and how your family feels about it, some of the things that you have experienced as an officer here. And we'll chime in some of the things that we experience as being what I call the minorities of the police department in Chesterfield County. Because again, this is the one thing that one of the initiatives that our chief has, a SMART program, is to be more inclusive to everything that we do in our police department as we do in our community.
That's right. He's recognized that we should work harder to diversify the department, not only in physical attributes, is why he added the No Shave November is now permanent. Facial hair for men and women in the department, whoever chooses to do so. But also that we need to increase our availability to people who may not consider becoming Chesterfield police officers.
Exactly. You want to introduce yourself, young lady?
Hi, I'm Officer Valentine. I've lived in Chesterfield for almost 8 years now. I've worked for Chesterfield County Police Department for about 8-9 months. Like I said, I lived in Chesterfield for about 8 years. I went to James River High School, then I went to CCPD University. From there, I joined the cadet post, which brought me here to the Chesterfield Police Department.
Okay, when you say the cadet post,
correct.
What is that? What is that? Is that for young people to get involved in law enforcement?
Yes, sir. That's what it is. It's a post. They have meetings. They have kids from 14 to 21 years of age. Obviously, you can join once you're 14, and once you turn 21, you have to kind of make a decision if that's what you want to be. If law enforcement is where you want to be at, or if it's not, then, basically, like everyone says, that it's not meant to be for everyone, so you just leave the post. They have meetings every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. They just do scenarios there, but basically, once I joined the cadet post, for a couple months later, I started doing ride-alongs with officers, and there's a couple of advisors there who are also police officers with the Chesterfield County Police Department, and they're awesome instructors. They teach you a lot about life as a police officer. They do all different kind of scenarios there. And after doing a couple ride-alongs, I just saw that this is something that I want to do. But before then, I didn't even think that I could ever be a police officer.
Well, you're not giving yourself any credit because I think you were the president of that organization at first, right?
Not the cadet post. I was the president of Criminal Justice Club on ECPI University.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's
good.
I
met her at the Criminal Justice Club and had us come in and do a couple presentations to the student body there. And that was really, really good, really informative.
Okay. Now, so you have been with us for how long now?
Going to my second year.
Second year. Yeah. So walk me back to why did you want to become a police officer in Chesterfield County?
So when I was in New York City, I was talking to one of my dad's friend who very involved in the criminal justice major thing. So he advised me to like go away for college and just make sure that I know what I want to do in life and where I wanted to go. And I told him, I think I'm always willing to help people out, and I think being a police officer will fit that role. So he was like, all right, so here's a couple options you could have, whether you go study accounting or criminal justice. When I got to school, I kind of read about both of the majors, and I kind of like stay aside with one of them more than the other one, which was the criminal justice majors. And that's when I decided to just take over the criminal justice major. And after a while, I think up to my sophomore year, when we start like talking about, policing and police works and some of the classes that was involved in what police really do in the community and stuff like that, that's when I really starting to get involved and involving myself with the organization we had, which was a criminal justice majors organization, where we have few recruiters that will come and talk to us about what is police work really about, whether it could be federal work, police work, or just anything that will involve working with the community.
Okay. So so you're going over this in some of your classes, and being from another country, how did that fit into the culture for where you're from?
So where I'm from, we're really not big on policing.
Okay.
I would say you barely see the police officers respond to anything because we don't call them for anything.
Okay.
They more of there for traffic control, or if like the government going somewhere to escort them, like stuff like that. But we're not big on like calling the police for any domestic situation, disturbance or anything. We don't call the police for that. Okay. So it's basically free spread, and you just basically do whatever you want. As long as you don't commit any terrible offense up there, we do not call the police.
Okay.
Growing up, I was like, I think this is need to change. I think people need to depend on our government. People need to depend on the police in the community, and we need to work better on organizing how we could help our police officers and they could help us in the community, knowing that, hey, if we don't feel safe somewhere, we need to call the police. Right. You know, if something going on, we need to call the police. And that was my role of becoming a police officer, saying that, hey, it doesn't matter where I'm from and how we view the police officers I want to make changes. And the only thing that I could do by making those changes, it's being involved. Exactly. Because I can't make changes by sitting out of the box and just keep talking. You got to have some actions that will follow with those words.
Awesome. And then we talk about the box. You got to have, right. That's what we talk about all the time. If you don't want to come to the table and be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. And that's what, I commend you for even considering, meeting Elliot, coming down from Buffalo, and being part of Chesterfield County. But I love the history of what you're saying is how were you, once you get finished college, you meet Elliot as a recruiter. The decision to make to come from Buffalo to an unfamiliar area in Chesterfield, rural county, I pretty much say, what gave you that thought to come and apply with us?
So when Elliot came down to Buffalo State College, I was actually not done with my major at the time. Mm-hmm. I think I was either a sophomore or something like that, where it was kind of tough for me to decide, because at first I was like, I don't want to leave college. I still have 2 more years to go. Mm-hmm. I want to finish my degree. When he came out to Buffalo State, he told us about the program. And at the first testing, I didn't go on and take that first testing. I waited until they have another testing, which was at Helber College, where I drove my car up there and took the test. Then after the test, I was talking to Captain Stark, who kind of give me advice about what I need to do to get into the department. And I followed that idea, and I spoke to my dad about it. My dad said, if this is what you want to do and you ready to make that move and willing to make that changes, then go for it. You have my full support. And that right there just give me a kind of tap on the shoulder and say, hey, go ahead and just live your life. At the end of the day, you'll have that support from your family.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, young lady, your time. Give me, when did you decide to say, okay, again, you're from this area, you have seen policing in this area. Start from the beginning of, again, from where you're from your country, relationship with police. I know you mentioned the same thing. You didn't see police as often as you see police now. I mean, that's one thing you said. I see police all the time in Chesterfield County or in the States.
Right. So, like I said, I grew up on Kosovo, which is almost more on like Southeast Europe. Where I grew up on a country, and we would barely see officers. And like Jai said, we don't call police officers there for anything and everything. It has to be something major. It has to be like people like in bad fights or, for domestics and, oh, my kid is not going to school and stuff like that. I'm not saying that we get, silly calls here, but at the same time, it's some calls that we should be like, hey, we have more important stuff to, go to. So there, I would rarely see police officers. It would probably be like once or twice a year that I would ever see police officers. And those would be like in the city, because just like Jai said, just same thing as in his country. They're more there to control traffic, for accidents, for like shooting calls and stuff like that, but not really for calls like this. So I respect law enforcement all the time, but I didn't really know a lot about it. And I just thought the police officers, write tickets and take people to jail. That's it. Didn't know anything else. And then I moved here. We would go to grocery store. We would go anywhere, and you just see police cars just everywhere. And I'm like, I don't know. I was just so nervous, and so I don't know. I was just telling my mom, like, when those officers would be like completely on a different side of the road, I would be like, Mom, slow down. It's 45. You gotta go 45 miles per hour. Don't go any faster because they're gonna pull you over. And I was just not a big fan of the cops.
Right.
So I just didn't have an interest in it. And then I started studying criminal justice because I was like, I don't want to find out more about law enforcement. No one in my family has studied law enforcement or worked anything, related to law enforcement, like nothing. So I was like, I just want to find out more. And I went to CCPD University, started studying criminal justice. I found out about the cadet post from one of the Henrico officers. And I was like, I'll give it a try. I was 19. I knew you can only be like there until 21, but I said, I'll give it a try, see what it is like. Be closer with police officers, talk to them a little more and see what police life is like, since I don't want to be a police officer, but I'm studying criminal justice. Sure. So it's still related. I joined the cadet post. As I said, there are some awesome advisors there. They completely like changed my mind about police work in general. And even though they changed my mind about that, like they're so friendly, they're so smart, so nice. They changed my mind about police officers. So I'm like, okay, they're nice people, they're humans just like us. And doing all the scenarios and stuff, I was like, okay, they're not here just to write tickets and take people to jail. So I learned more there. And then by the time I was about to turn 21, as one of the advisors there, one of the officers, I'm like, okay, so I'm about to turn 21. I said, do I leave right when I turn 21 or can I wait until the end of the year? He's like, oh, you can apply. I'm like, apply for what? He goes, to be a police officer. And as I said earlier, like I truly enjoyed all the ride-alongs. And I was like, this is probably something I want to do. But at the same time, I was like, I have an accent and English is my second language. I was like, people are going to give me a hard time and I just cannot be a cop. Okay. And I asked him, like, apply for what? He's like, to be a police officer. I'm like, no, I cannot do it. He goes, why not? I'm like, I have an accent and my English is not as good. Plus, I just don't think I'm the right person to be in the law enforcement. He's like, why not? We've seen you doing the scenarios and stuff. You do very well. You've been in ride-alongs with us. You don't hesitate to talk to people and stuff like that. So, like I said, I liked it and I was like, wow, they work as a team. This is great. This is awesome. And I truly appreciate everything they do. It's just perfect, but I cannot be one of them. So talking to them a little longer, I was like, I think I'm more want to go as maybe probably like correctional officer or something like that, but definitely not on the road with people where they're going to give me a hard time because they're mad about something else, but they're going to pick on my accent and they're going to be like, I don't understand what you're saying. So that's probably not going to go well. So after talking to them, then I spoke to like all the advisors there. They changed my mind. They're like, you can do it. You know, we've seen you, like I said, doing scenarios and stuff. You'll do fine. I've had their full support all the time, not just them. On the college, I met Elliot. Before I even applied, I met Rizzuti as well. So it's been other officers other than that, just cadet advisors that I've had support before I even applied.
Awesome.
So have you both found support in the department? Do you have officers that you ever talk to who may ask about your past history or your personal life or as a way to increase their knowledge?
I have few officers that I talk to and few that I hang out off duty. Most of them, one thing they told me, hey, if something don't seem right, don't do it. Be always, have the right intention of doing what's good.
Right.
Okay. Talk to people, get out of your car. Just don't be that police officer that just, sit in your car at all time and just not getting to know who's around you and who's in the community. With my personal life, I talk to them as well. They give me advice. Sometimes I know the job could be overwhelming, but then again, I will call them and they give me ideas of things that I need to do just to kind of like calm myself down and be ready to roll the next day.
Right. Now, I know you said the Explorer Post advisor support, you've found other support as well throughout the department since you've been there?
Yes, I definitely did. As I said, Chris is one of them. He's not an advisor at the cadet post, but right when I joined the academy, I got his number, and anytime I felt free to call him. And, going through the academy and as English being my second language, every now and then I struggle with stuff and I just didn't feel comfortable. And I was like, if there's something that I will leave this job for, it's only because, I'm struggling with English, with my language. I'm like, people are just not probably going to be nice. So, other than the cadet advisors, I spoke to Chris, I spoke to some other ones because doing ride-alongs with officers, I got to know other officers other than the cadet advisors. And as soon as I joined the academy, they were there for me because my family, they have so much respect for law enforcement and everything like that. But like I said earlier, because they think this job is dangerous and, it's still kind of sometimes a mentality, females cannot do it probably. I've had the biggest support. Of course I had my family, but the biggest support I got from police officers here that work for either Chesterfield or other departments.
Now, you spoke a little bit about the accent. I'm always intrigued about how many languages people speak. And I speak English, and I'm sure that you and the listeners understand that's not always good.
You speak it well.
But how many languages do you speak, and do you ever have the opportunity to use it while you're working?
I speak 4.
4 languages.
And sometimes...
What are those for our listeners?
Arabic, English, Wolof, and French.
And is Wolof a language or a dialect?
Wolof is just basically mainly... it's kind of like the tribe language that we speak up there.
Okay.
It's more spoken in Senegal and Gambia.
Okay.
So those are the 2 places that you could hear people speaking Wolof fluently.
Okay.
Throughout my career here, I came in contact with few other community members who live in the community who also from Senegal. And the only way I was able to find out, it's because there was an incident that happened where they decided to call a translator in order for them, to kind of send out the message they want to send out to the police officer. And based on their phone conversation, I was able to tell them, hey, I speak that language. If you're willing to talk to me about that language, then I should be able to answer you.
Right.
And they was like, well, we didn't know you're from Senegal.
Right.
So I was like, yes, I am from Senegal. So, after we started talking and the conversation is getting better and better and better, and they decided to change how they view the police department right then and there, knowing that, hey, they at least have someone who's from their country who worked for Chesterfield County Police Department in here, working with them, and that if we need the police, we could call the police at any time. We don't have to speak English just to call the police. We could call the police with any language that we speak in the community.
Yes.
That's a good example. How about you, Valencia? And I'm saying your name wrong.
You're fine, it's alright. I speak to you English and Albanian. Turkish, I understand it a little and I speak it a little bit, but it's not like, I'm not as confident on speaking it fully, and as well as Spanish. I understand like a few words. I can probably pick up a few words if, you're trying to tell me something, but it's not that I will like speak it. Coming in contact, I only came in contact one time with two Albanians. It was a motor vehicle accident, and I've known them, out of work. It's not that, they started speaking Albanian, but I knew them as soon as I responded on scene. There's not many Albanians or Turkish people who live in Virginia, especially in Chesterfield, so I don't really come in contact a lot, so Albanian is not as helpful to me at work.
So how do you, again, in a nutshell, how do you really feel about the culture that you have come to now in Chesterfield? Do you feel comfortable enough that this is a way of bridging the gap between police and community?
Yes. I know when I was in the academy, I'm not sure if I remember talking to Rizzuti about it, when Ortega came to our class and talked about how the department involved playing soccer with the community. It was just something that kind of shook me, because I never knew any department that will, have their officers playing soccer with the community.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, I didn't know we do that here. And soccer is like one of the main sport we play in Senegal.
Right.
So I was able to, when I got into the team and playing soccer with the community, I was able to meet so many different people who from my country who asked me about, oh, how did you get into the department? Oh, we didn't know that, we are capable of like getting to a department like this, because they didn't know anything about it.
Wow.
So I was able to, give them my phone number for any ideas about getting to any departments that they want to get into, if they need advice. And to follow their dream. Never be scared to follow your dream. And don't let people get you down. Don't doubt yourself. Don't let people get you down. Always go for what you want.
Good for you.
And I was able to meet people who also not from my country, who I came in contact with on a daily basis live. And I also give them advice about, how to get involved with the community. By just join the police department, volunteer. We also have ride along in the department where you can ride with the police officers and knowing what we do, because we're not out there just to be the bad guys.
Exactly.
We out there every day just to make sure that the community members are safe. What they need, we're giving them to make sure that the youth in the community will grow in the better hands.
Wow. Excellent. You want to add anything to that?
No, I agree to everything he said. It's different here than it is in my country. But I love it, even though it's a different culture. It's very interesting to see different things and learn different things here. And as Jai said about the community policing officers, just going to the soccer games and stuff. Here it's, like I said, all I knew is, police officers write tickets and take people to jail, but it was like, it's completely different because, as Jai said, we're here to make sure that everyone is, protected instead of what some citizens think that, officers are just there to take everybody to jail. That's definitely not true. Speaking about culture, as I said, I've learned a lot. It's completely different, but I really like it. At the same time, people also respect my culture, and also speaking about the accent, it's awesome how people here, just citizens in general, for the most part, they're very respectful of just the accent itself, or, you know, if I'm trying to explain something to them, it's definitely not as I thought it was gonna be. Like, you know, people are gonna pick on it, and they're just gonna be mad, and they're gonna be like, I don't understand what you're saying, and, you know, everything's just gonna get worse. Instead, a lot of people are like, where's your accent from? Hey, I hear you have an accent. Do you mind me asking where you come from? And it's kind of good sometimes, to be honest, because it helps us build a better relationship with citizens.
It does.
We speak to them and they ask us where you're from, and I like to be nice to them. I don't want to be like, you know, don't worry about it or something like that, because that would make it worse. Instead, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm from here. A lot of people don't really know this country because it's a small and new country, but this is what I speak. And they're like, wow, I like your accent. And that way it makes a citizen trust us more, and it makes them talk to us a little more, because they're like, okay, yeah, this officer seems to be nice, you know, they're telling me this about themselves, so let me tell them what's going on, you know, about this case, or about maybe the neighbor next door, or something like that. So like I said, it does build us a good communication and relationship with citizens. So accent helps sometimes.
Oh yeah, it does. It does.
It's good.
Yeah, and again, you can see that the culture has come together.
Right.
And you have both of you all have bought so much to enrich the county itself, and of course the police department. I mean, again, we sitting here talking, and how much time has gone by. It's one of the best ones we have done, because now I'm learning from you all. I'm learning that you have fit in to a part of a culture that usually is, you know, you say, that's not going to be part of my, you know, my family. Pretty much now, you know, it is part of your family, because you're giving information to others to not only, again, I love the story on both of you all, especially when you're saying you're playing soccer, and now people are asking, man, I didn't know you could be a police officer in this country. So now that's part of what the initiative for the chief is all about, is how we bridge that gap. Not only with Ellie and I doing a podcast that we don't know how many people actually listen to the podcast, but we have a great time in discussing it. But again, we can do a second half or a second part of this and go on forever.
And, you know, I do want to thank you all for coming in, because sometimes it can be difficult to share your personal story and let the public in on what we are like outside of work.
Exactly.
But it's important for people to know that when they come to this department, Chesterfield County Police Department, we are working hard to have people who look like you and to be reflective of our communities. Whether it's tattoos or facial hair, or you speak another language, or you have another faith,
or your faith, exactly.
Whatever your situation is, we're willing to give that person an opportunity. And the opportunity is with the Chesterfield Police Department.
So you want to sign us on out of here?
Let's remind our listeners, if you're interested in employment with Chesterfield County Police Department, you can go to chesterfieldpd.com to apply. We have upcoming tests and upcoming academies. There are also volunteer opportunities listed on our website as well. And we appreciate both of your time.